to the Chilling with c.bo podcast. I'm your host, c.bo, and it's just me and Cap Jack today. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Another duo.
Another duo, yep. Juan and Pedro, they've been very busy, especially Juan, who I'll let him announce what he's up to whenever he gets back.
It's good things.
It's
Good things. He's a very busy bee.
He's a very busy bee, but he's up to great things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing today, Cap Jack?
I'm doing all right. I just put the puppy in the crate so she can take a nap. And
how's she doing?
Sleep. She's doing all right. She's very. She's been kind of weird recently, but I think it's just because not many people are home during the normal, like Monday to Friday, so she's not sure how to act, and we kind of just it's essentially like having a baby. You always got to keep an eye on her. You kind of pass her off between people once you've kind of reached your limit. But overall, she is great. She's getting a little bit bigger. She's getting a lot more used to being picked up, and she actually enjoys being picked up, which is nice. I just hope she doesn't get too much bigger, because I like being able to hold her in one hand, and I don't want to have to do dead curls in order to hold my dog.
That's gonna happen eventually, but pugs aren't that big anyway, so
yeah,
she's not gonna grow that much more.
No, but she's 5 pounds now. I think she's supposed to get up to at least 20 pounds. So hopefully she's still like a okay weight for a pug.
Do you walk her, or she's not ready for that yet?
We're kind of getting her used to it. I mean, my mom mostly takes her because my mom is home more often than the rest of us. So, but the dog doesn't like the wind, and it's been very windy these past couple of days.
Yeah.
So the wind hits her face and she freaks out and then tries to make a beeline inside. But, she's learning about the world.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming.
Figure it out. Yeah.
I mean, she's only like what? Like how many months old now?
She's, I think, 13 weeks now.
Yeah, so hey, it's overwhelming. She's still pretty new.
Yeah. What about you? What's new with you?
What's new with me? Pretty good. Just chilling. Update on the DCEU videos. They're probably not gonna be done this month.
No, come on, we need it.
But they're probably gonna happen towards the end of this month. It's gonna be 10 uninterrupted days though once they happen, because I want that too. Because I know the Man of Steel and BVS ones, those are the longest ones, and I know they're gonna take a lot of work. And and Man of Steel's at first moving to DCEU, and if I were to do it leading up to the Snyder Cut, I'd have to be done with it on Tuesday, and I'm just like, nah.
I mean, you still got.
I want to spread out the work. I don't want to like crunch myself, because I want to still be having fun,
I gotcha.
Yeah, but they're coming. They're coming. When they come, they're coming.
All right.
And there's just gonna be so much to talk about once that thing drops on the 18th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to talk about it. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah, a little bit after that, King Kong out.
Yeah, King Kong. Yes.
That's the 23rd, I think.
Dude, it's the 31st.
31st?
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's not as close as I thought it was, but still pretty close.
Yeah, but not close enough, right?
Yes, that's very true.
This is like your movie. Like you've been really looking forward to this.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped. People have been waiting decades for this rematch. Last time, I'm trying to think. The last time that King Kong thing was. Let me pull up a quick fact real quick.
I think it was the 60s when that movie came out.
King Kong versus Godzilla. 1962. It was the last time they were seen together on screen.
JFK was still alive.
Wow. That you see, that puts it into perspective.
He dies a year later, but like it's like crazy.
Yeah, we haven't seen King Kong since JFK.
That's insane.
Finally, it's about goddamn time.
Can you do a JFK impression?
No, I actually cannot do a JFK impression. I don't think I haven't listened to enough JFK material to get a solid one going.
Juan could do a pretty decent one.
We're gonna have to record one before you publish this podcast. You can put it right here.
Yeah. Can you do a Christopher Walken as JFK though?
I can't. I'm not doing a Christopher Walken impression again. It's gonna lose its luster. I wanna save it. You know.
Yeah, I can't.
Once
You guys can all do one pretty well. I'm just like, I'm Christopher Walken. It's terrible.
I want to hear Pedro's now.
So okay. So the director of Godzilla vs. Kong said that there's gonna be a winner. Who do you think is gonna win that throwdown?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Well, in the original one, I believe it was Godzilla that won, but in this one, I feel like I want to say it's going to be King Kong, but then they did the whole like they shrank Godzilla or they made Kong bigger than he was before. So I'm sure there's going to be more controversy about that after we find out the winner. But personally, I kind of, if they're going to keep doing Godzilla mythos movies and stuff, it would be cool to see Godzilla win. However,
so you can become the king of the monsters.
Yeah, like the OG official king of the monsters, or it would be really cool to see. I don't know, because like if King Kong,
because right now Kong is just still called Kong. He's not officially called King Kong. You know?
Oh my god! What if this is the movie where he becomes King Kong?
Yeah.
Ooh, I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea.
It's gonna be interesting to see where he's been since Kong Skull Island. Like, what's he been up to?
I mean, I'm sure he's just been beating up monsters and stuff on his own island.
Because I know there's like a little girl that like bonds with him and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, the human characters are nice, I guess. I don't know.
It's so crazy how in the first King Kong movie that came out in like 2014,
Mhm.
Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson are the main characters. They're brothers in the MCU, but they were a couple in that movie.
Oh my god, I didn't even. Whoa.
Yeah.
Gosh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston's in that movie.
Bryan Cranston's in that movie too. Yep.
Dang. I might want to do a little rewatch of the new ones, just in part to get ready for this one coming out.
What was I about to say? All right. Do you think who are they gonna be teaming up against? Is it Mecha Godzilla? That's the popular rumor right now.
I know everyone's saying it's Mecha Godzilla. I wouldn't say it isn't Mecha Godzilla, but it could very well also be Mecha King Ghidorah.
Yes.
Because they got his body at the end of King of the Monsters. Like it was just sitting there as a smoldering mass of nothing. So it wouldn't be that hard to just, hook that up to some machinery and bring it back to life.
Whew. That's definitely gonna be something when we see that. When that happens, it's gonna be just so big and grand and bombastic. I'm just like, yeah, this is nice. It'll be nice to see like something just this crazy huge since the pandemic started, because I feel like we're missing something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I can't believe we're getting a 4-hour Justice League movie and a Kong versus Godzilla movie within 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah, and then Mortal Kombat comes out in.
That comes out April, yes.
April. Is it the beginning of April?
Let's check right now. Did we
have the conversation last?
What?
Did we have the conversation last where we were talking about they have to incorporate that song in the original in this new version somehow?
No, I don't think we ever talked about the Mortal Kombat trailer, to be honest.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the Mortal Kombat trailer?
Let's do it, yeah. I mean, all we have is just Judas on the docket, and that's it. So I guess we'll talk about that. Then Judas.
Well, this is the HBO Max March marathon podcast now.
Yeah. So what did you think of that Mortal Kombat trailer?
You know what? I'm pretty stoked. It looks like it looks like this movie's gonna be a ton of fun. Goro's back. I feel like we could use some other Mortal combatants instead of Goro. It would have been cool to see Shiva instead, because she's also a four-armed. I'm trying to remember the name of their race. They're pseudo dragon people or something like that. But it would have been cool to see her in this, because in the games recently she's had like a major story influence and stuff, and she's mainly in the games because Goro's dead now. In games, not in this movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't go throwing the spoiler warning at me.
I'm not caught up with the Mortal Kombat lore. To me, it's just crazy people fighting and fatalities.
Yeah, no, it's sick. I like the creative decision to have Sub-Zero be the one that destroys Jax's arms, so Jax has to get a set of arms. And I've heard a lot of speculation that this Sub-Zero is the first Sub-Zero. And to the few people listening not really knowing that much about Mortal Kombat, chronologically speaking, there were two Sub-Zeros. One that kills Scorpion, and then after he makes a pact with Quan Chi, becomes Scorpion. And then Scorpion comes back and kills that Sub-Zero. And then a new Sub-Zero appears as the brother of the original Sub-Zero. But that weird kind of crazy backstory aside, people are speculating that this is the bad Sub-Zero, also known as the first Sub-Zero. And we could see Scorpion kill this Sub-Zero in this movie, which would be pretty sick. But it seems like we really do get a Scorpion intro, like backstory in this one.
So you played all Mortal Kombat games? Like you follow the story in every single one of them? I've
played enough of the games to have a good handling of the lore.
Okay.
I'm not calling myself an expert. I am familiar with the material.
You're a fan of the material.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was like your favorite Mortal Kombat game growing up, or just now and anything?
I like Mortal Kombat. I think it's Mortal Kombat 2, mainly because that's one that was in arcades the most. Although my favorite Mortal Kombat as of late is Injustice 2.
Okay.
I'm just joking. My favorite Mortal Kombat, I think the last one that I played was the one for Xbox 360. I think that was Mortal Kombat 9, maybe, or it's either 9 or 8.
No, it was 9. Yeah, because I know that was like I remember it was like a big deal because like it was essentially like a soft reboot, and people were like, "Whoa, this is awesome!"
Yeah, because at that point, like before Mortal Kombat 9, there were so many side characters and so much lore. It kind of turned into oh god, what's that franchise I'm trying to think of? Crap. Oh well, it doesn't really matter too much. But like
Street Fighter?
No, not Street Fighter. I was trying to think of something else. But they essentially, like, Mortal Kombat acquired like all these different like characters, and some of these characters only appeared in one game, but they were still canonical. And if you played them out of order, it felt like story-wise, if you were paying attention to the story, it was kind of weird and discombobulated. And so when 9 came out, when I played it for the first time. I was like, whoa, this is like, the first couple Mortal Kombats. I love this. And that's why I love a lot of other people liked it too, I guess. So I've yet to play Mortal Kombat 11 personally because I haven't had much time in recent years to pick it up and really get a handle on it and honestly I miss playing fighting games a lot. So I might pick it up.
I think it's time for you to pick it up now.
Yeah, pick it up for the new movie and see if I still have it, because I know I haven't played a gosh darn fighting game since Injustice 2, I think. And that was like, that game came out in 2016, I think. 2020
somewhere around there, yeah.
So I would, you know what? Maybe I will pick up Mortal Kombat in lieu of the movie coming out, because it would be fun to harken back to, my fighting game days.
So what's the thing you're most looking forward to in this Mortal Kombat movie?
I'm really looking forward to seeing, proper Mortal Kombat, like seeing some well choreographed fights that you would expect from a series like Mortal Kombat. And the trailer did a great job in showcasing a lot of really cool stuff. The fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the factory was cool.
Remember when he freezes the blood and uses it as a knife?
Yeah, stabs him in the eye. That's the kind of shit I want, man. Like, I hope we get to see, like, physically see Sub-Zero take Jax's arms, and it's not like a cutaway or anything, but like have him crush his arms to pieces, and you see Jax's stumpy bits. And then there's the part where Kano's holding the guy's heart, and who else is in it? Not Lizard. What's his name? I think it is Lizard. Lizard, no. Whatever. Doesn't. Reptile. That's what it is. That's how long it's been. But yeah, we get to see Reptile. We see Melina. We see Liu Kang. I think we see Sonya Blade.
Yeah, she's in it. Yeah.
I don't know how I would feel about this new character that they're talking about. I think his name is Cole.
Yeah.
I feel like he's definitely going to play the part of the audience where exposition is given to him because he knows nothing about the world.
So,
what about you? What do you think about this movie as someone that isn't as familiar with Mortal Kombat?
Well, it looks awesome. I've seen gameplay like the games and stuff like that. I always thought, oh, this is really cool. It's just I don't play a lot of fighting games. I have like Injustice 2 and 1, so those are fun. But it's like, I have because of DC characters, so yeah. But yeah, this movie looks like it's gonna capture that spirit of Mortal Kombat, where it's cheesy as all hell, but there's some really cool, gory, crazy fights that are so over the top and crazy and I can't wait to see some fatalities or those what are those called? Those X-ray moves, like
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that, like where they like break some bones and you're just gonna be like, ooh, like yeah. That's definitely gonna be a lot of fun. I don't know why Johnny Cage isn't in this. What the hell?
I think if I remember correctly, there were talks about making Johnny Cage the Cole stand-in, or they were gonna turn Cole into a Johnny Cage, like turn him into what Johnny Cage is. But I don't know if those are true. And then there's talks that this Cole person could also be Scorpion's son, or he's like an amalgamation of both Sub-Zero and Scorpion. And I don't know, it's very strange at the few decisions that they made. Like I also was expecting some sort of Johnny Cage cameo of some kind, but maybe they're holding that off. Maybe they're going to keep it as an Easter egg, or they're going to have
it'd be perfect with Johnny Cage. That's like a cocky, like I feel like Zac Efron would be a perfect Johnny Cage.
Zac Efron. That would be interesting for sure. I'm thinking about if Zac Efron has done an action movie in his career. I don't really count. What's the beach movie?
Baywatch.
Watch. I don't count Baywatch.
But that's the thing, though. Isn't Johnny Cage like a wannabe? You know, he's just yeah, like.
But he's kind of a wannabe. But the thing is like he's not incompetent at fighting. He's just really full of himself. So
yeah, so Zac Efron, what Zac Efron can be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be cool to see, but I also wouldn't doubt that they would bring in like a no-name person.
Or I feel like we've seen him play this role a lot, but Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I feel like Ryan Reynolds plays a lot of the snarky characters within.
He's already a Johnny Cage anyway.
Yeah, he's his own Johnny Cage. He's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited for this movie. Definitely got to see it in the theater and then like watch it again at home because yeah. Same thing with Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm definitely gonna watch that in the theater as well.
I think Pedro wanted to go see it as a group.
Okay.
I think you have to ask him. I'm pretty sure he wanted to, but it would also be fun.
Yes, it would be fun. Yes.
All right. Do you want to talk about Judas?
Yeah, so the movie we decided to watch this week is Judas and the Black Messiah, starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. Kaluuya plays Fred Hampton, and Stanfield plays the FBI informant who infiltrates the party to get some dirt on Hampton, and so the FBI can shut them down. So I guess I'll start with you, Jack. Since there's no one else, what did you think of Judas and the Black Messiah?
I really enjoyed it. It hits a bunch of marks for me that I look for in movies. The cinematography was very pleasing.
Yes.
I appreciated that the directors gave actors time to act out in a scene. There's plenty of scenes where we get to see everyone's reaction to things, like the FBI informant. I can only remember his last name right now. His name's O'Neill. It's like
Bill O'Neill.
Bill O'Neill, because of Wild Bill. There's plenty of shots in that movie where it's just his reaction to things that Black Panthers are talking to him about, and you see just his performance of trying to keep himself together and not seem suspicious in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
and I loved all of those scenes. I was surprised that not Charlie Sheen. Oh gosh, why am I so bad with names today? Who played Herbert Hoover?
J. Edgar Hoover. It was by Martin Sheen.
Yes, J. Edgar Hoover. See, I'm horrible with names.
But Charlie Sheen's bad. That is Charlie.
Yes. I was surprised to see him in this movie, mainly because I wasn't expecting, because they went back and forth between they didn't really do it that much, but they did it enough to where it was still it was enjoyable experience every time, because I was like, just when I felt like I was going to forget that there was a whole FBI federal side to this, they would cut back to that big press conference with J. Edgar Hoover addressing the FBI, or like there's the scene where he brings the FBI agent that is in charge of Bill O'Neill into his office, and they have a private conversation. Yeah. And it is inspiring to see the main character's performance of Fred. Oh my gosh,
Fred Hampton.
Thank you, Fred Hampton. Seeing how this man encompasses the qualities that a leader has, and also, but he's also a human being, and he has some flaws and stuff. And I like the little moments that he has with his later his wife, but when he first meets her and he's all shy and stuff, he gets nervous about talking to her, and the way he addresses people with respect, and he wants people to, like, in all the confrontations he has with other gangs within the movie, he's never one to raise his voice or anything, and he keeps his cool. And I think that says a lot about his character, but it's also an amazing portrayal by the actor himself, to able to convincingly portray this character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
I thought this movie was really good. It's one thing to know about like the corruption in law enforcement by the police or the FBI, but it's another thing just seeing it play out, and you just like, and when you're watching it, you just feel disgusted, and I don't like anything about it, and I can't believe this is how people felt. I'm not surprised. You're not surprised, but it's still, you're just like, ugh.
It is a very, very frustrating thing to watch.
Yes.
There are very frustrating scenes in this movie.
Yes, and that's the point. And it's just like, you kind of feel bad for Bill, but at the same time you don't, because like it's the system was failed him, because the FBI just treating him as a puppet. He was a puppet of theirs, and at the end of the day, he kind of they kind of just threw him off to the side and treated him like everyone else, like they were treating black people. And it was just like, Jesus Christ, man. And the actor who played him, Lakeith Stanfield, did a great performance, as well as Kaluuya, who was just, like you say, who's trying to make sure people weren't suspicious of him. And you just saw there's just like the emotion in his eyes and like the conflict. He's like, what the hell am I doing now? Like at first it was just like, oh, I can get some money and some benefits from helping the FBI, but now it's just like he's just selling his soul at one point. And that scene with that big speech, I am a revolutionary, and you see him him and the FBI agent like stare at each other, and the FBI agent's just like laughing because he knows, he's like, what he's saying, he don't mean it, because he's ours. Yeah. And it's just very, like, God damn. What you about to say?
Tense. I was just gonna say that scene was very tense.
And what else? Daniel Kaluuya, incredible performance from him. He already won a Golden Globe, and they're saying he's probably gonna sweep the award season with that role. And I'm very proud of him, because he's been working hard throughout his whole career. Now he's gonna be considered a top tier actor now because of this movie, and I can't wait to see what else he does, because he was truly awesome in this movie, because he plays such a cool, charismatic leader that you wanted to just go into battle with. You're like, if I met this guy in real life, he'd be like, yeah, this guy's my leader. I'm battling with him. That's my guy right there. Yeah. And he just had this weight to him, yeah. And so it's just really heartbreaking when when history plays out, and the true, like, we see what happens to him in at the end, which is just one of the most shocking. It's just such a shocking scene to watch. You're just like, this happens, but just seeing it play out still is just so they just, it's all just cold blood, just so cold blooded from the FBI.
Even though you know what's going to happen at the end of this movie, and in case people are hearing this thinking that this is spoilers, you probably already know what happens at the end of this movie, just from just from guessing.
Yeah.
But even though you know what's going to happen, you still don't feel it like it's going to happen throughout the movie. And then it does, and it hits like a rock.
Yeah, have you seen Zero Dark 30?
Yes, movie? I've seen parts of it.
It felt like that the raid at the end instead we were doing it to our own people, and that just felt so disgusting and wrong, and just so shocking and emotional, and just, goddamn, what a movie. Like, yeah.
I also what was it? I loved seeing. I'm a fan of the aesthetics of, like, this is sort of like a historical piece, and I'm a fan of historical pieces. One of my friends first introduced me to more stuff like this, where like timepiece movies, and I love how well some set designers and costume people and makeup and hairstylists and all that whole artistic department is able to bring you into a certain era in the US or
Yeah,
and I feel like this movie did an incredible job in that department as well.
recreating like the
And
late '60s and early '70s. Yeah,
yeah, I mean I'm not an expert on this kind of stuff, but the dialogue also felt very very real, and it didn't feel like a fake version of how people like colloquialisms and how people actually spoke and slang and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, there's that scene where the FBI agents are creating fake fake pamphlets to drop off in front of one of the other gangs other than the Black Panthers. I think they were the Crowns or the I think I'll say the Crowns for now, but like the FBI plants like a bunch of Black Panther pamphlets saying that other Crowns and stuff, but the scene is the guys trying to make it sound like the Black Panthers, and he's putting in slang where slang doesn't fit,
yeah,
and that I feel like that was a very big moment, and if they didn't get that part across in the dialogue and everything, it would have fell flat. But to have the characters actually uh, like pick up the appropriate uh speech patterns and everything like that, I thought was really cool.
yeah.
And it adds just another level of immersion into this movie because there's never a moment where you get lost or anything like that. It's not a branch of dialogue that's, another world. It's just like how, adults look at us and we say like random slang words. It's like, oh, I get what you mean. It's just I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't use those words.
Yeah, when it said dig in instead of dig it,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's like, are you dumb? Like,
Like what? Dig in what?
and I also love how like, Kaluuya's acting in that scene, how he de-escalates that situation. Like
Yeah.
there's no one else that could have pulled that off besides him. Like he's just so damn cool. Like, ugh.
I also the second that they walked into that bar, like one of the starting scenes in this movie is Bill O'Neill pretends to be an FBI agent to steal a car off uh, one of these crown people before he gets pulled into the FBI, like the actual FBI.
Yeah.
And then later on, he's with the Black Panthers, and they go back to that bar, and he's like sort of hiding his face and trying not to be seen. And then he gets brought into that scene where they're all having the meeting together, and he gets spotted out. And that whole time, I was on the edge of my seat, thinking that there was going to be there's going to be huge consequences for him being there and all that stuff. And then there was that super tense scene later on when Judy, one of the Black Panthers, confronts him about like, why did that guy come after you for a hot second? It's just that whole sequence from that movie is worth the watch alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
And
it.
I was also about to say like it's just like when you find out there's more like rats and the other parties too, like in the crowns, and it's just like, god damn, it's like The Departed, like,
It
like
is like The Departed.
In a way, yeah, where there's like lots of people trying to infiltrate these organizations, and and it's just like, god damn, like these people just couldn't do what they wanted to do, like.
It's like you remember that ending of John Wick where he's like, I'll give you 30 minutes, and then everyone like rotates towards John Wick, and you realize like they're all in on it.
Yeah.
That's when it kind of felt like in terms of this movie when you find out there's more people everywhere, and then they bring in that other guy. What was his name? George Sands or something like that.
Yeah.
They specifically move him around to places to cause disorientation within the Black Panther Party stuff. God, it's just there's espionage and like
that's the word I was trying to think of. I couldn't figure it out. Yeah.
Just trying to dismantle this group from the inside out when their message isn't inherently threatening, but they're trying to find an underlying threatening message beneath it when it's just really about looking out for the community and each other
and unity.
It's wild. It is wild the lengths that the government went to keep these people suppressed and not allow them to gain much traction at all.
Yeah, it's really I don't know how you would describe it. Is it sad? Is it tragic? It's all those things, man.
At this point, all I can personally say is that it's history, and I feel that more people need to. And I'm sure it
still happens today, probably.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there are parts that are dramatized just for the sake of movie things and whatnot. Like I'm sure it's not a Bible to go off of, but it's definitely a snapshot of what
it's there. It all happened.
Yeah. It's just a oof. What a good movie. It was a good movie. It was a wonderful movie.
Yeah. Definitely. And
here's Juan and Pedro's thoughts on Judas and the Black Messiah.
What can I say about this movie that you and Jack and probably Pedro haven't already talked about already? By the way, it's Juan. This was not an easy watch. This was incredibly difficult, and it kind of what this movie made me do was kind of reassess my view of how, I guess, like, it made me reassess my view about how history is told through the eyes of the winners, and to think of how truly terrible it was back then, that the government, that the local police, that the attorney's office would execute a man who was trying to stand up for his civil liberties and beliefs, to try to organize people in a way for them to understand what their rights are as Americans, as citizens, when they were being oppressed and mistreated by the very people that's supposed to protect them. It really broke my heart. Did a lot of research, especially into this, and so the way that Fred died was a program known as COINTELPRO, and what that is a series. It was a program used for covert and illegal projects conducted by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting domestic American political organizations. Some of their targets that they've gone after: Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, and so many others. It's hard to believe that this is the government that's supposed to protect us. And, I used to think that now the government's changed and there are actual people in power that are trying to stop this kind of thing, but who knows what's actually going on, Who knows the secret and covert things that they're doing right now? Who knows that this oppression of black people that happened back then, like how much worse it is now? I mean, a lot of the reports that we see on the news, a lot of the shootings, a lot of the police, like, accidental shootings, quote unquote, I guess you can say, how much do we know is actually going on? And that's what this movie, I think, is trying to say. We'll never know what's going on because despite this country being the land of the free and the land of opportunity, we'll never ever fully know what this government is capable of, what it's doing right now, and what it's holding from us. And with regards to the obvious themes of racial disparity, inequality, and mistreatment, I don't know what else I can say. Apart from that, I'll never be able to understand the black plight, but this movie has made it close as to where I can see now why. This movie has made me understand it, not as much as I can not as a non-black person. I can understand it now as best I can. Man, all credit is due to everyone who made this movie. To Shaka King for recognizing what this movie could be, which is in Ultimatum, a Fred Hampton biopic in a crime drama. Huge kudos to Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield for playing their characters so well, so convincing. It makes me hope that both of them win their respective awards. Kaluuya for Best Actor and Stanfield for Best Supporting Actor. And hats off, man. Hats off to Dominique Fishback. I did a little readback, and she actually worked alongside the actual Deborah Johnson for this role. She actually went through her reaction during the assassination scene, how they first met, her feelings for this and that. Right, spot on, man. And I also read that the actual Deborah, she stuck around and watched on set the assassination scene as it went down. She wasn't faced. She remembered how it all happened. That takes a lot of strength, man. Yeah, this movie's really messed me up. It's really made me think. Really made me think a lot.
Judas and the Black Messiah, to me, was a perfect remake of the original betrayal of Jesus by Judas to Pontius Pilate, with Hampton being the Jesus figure, O'Neill being the Judas figure, and Mitchell being Pontius Pilate. Now, if you look at it through a modern perspective, you could see how the FBI strong-armed O'Neill into being an informant. Otherwise, he would have gone to prison. And those tactics now would be frowned upon and illegal. But you also got to take a look at O'Neill's perspective, in that he was in a bad situation. He was caught, and then he was put between a rock and a hard place. Either go to jail for the rest of his life or betray a group of people trying to fight for social equality. To compare it to the original betrayal of Judas to Jesus, instead of trading Jesus for 13 pieces of gold, he traded in for a gas station job. And the conclusion is still the same. He killed himself in the end because of the shame of what he'd done, and rightly so. He sold out a person who was influential in trying to establish social change, trying to help the black community rise from the oppression of the U.S. government and the white community as a whole. That still happens today. This film paints a picture that even with all of the social changes, the civil rights, and all the people that have come and gone, like Hampton, everything is still as bad as it was for him. A lot of people are still under legal oppression by government authority, and it is at the cost of their own lives that this is happening. This movie gives a lot of religious and cultural allegories to the betrayal of one another to save our own hide as well. I hope that makes sense. And if you need to edit any of this so it doesn't sound too political, please let me know. Thanks, Topher, for the movie. It was really good.
And we're going off to another award season movie next week with Nomadland.
Yeah.
The movie just won Best Movie at the Golden Globes, and as is the director Chloe Zhao. And it's also funny because Chloe Zhao is directing a new MCU movie called The Eternals. So it's gonna be a lot to talk about next week. What'd you say?
I did not know she was. I said I didn't realize she was directing The Eternals.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a lot to talk about next week regarding that as well.
Ooh wee.
Yeah. Then after that week, we'll do something lighter after both of these heavy movies, and then the Snyder Cut.
And then 4 hours, baby.
4 hours. Oh man.
Since there's 4 of us, do we want to each pick our favorite hour of the movie?
You know, why not? Yeah.
And then we duke it out to say which part's best. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
we don't have to do that. I just found it
so
funny.
What would you give this movie that we just saw this week?
I don't know. Because there's nothing off the top of my head that would give me a reason to give it anything lower than a 10. But I feel maybe I would need to give it another watch in order to give it like a genuine 10. I would call this like a 9 or 9.5. Because like
I just you can't really watch this. This isn't like a movie you put on like every Friday night, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I never felt like it was taking too long. I felt the movie was well paced, and they spent what felt like the right amount of time on every beat, every ounce of dialogue, every shot on someone. Everything felt well timed. It's like it just, I don't know. It's just one of those movies where you see it to see it, and then depending on how much you love that movie, you either see it all the time or you've seen it once and you go, okay. So maybe that's why it's a 9, because of how rewatchable it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. No, you have some good opinions here.
Alrighty. Can I bring up a quick story that happened? For our time, it was last night, but for other parts of the world, it was Friday morning.
Okay.
So there was a major earthquake 600 miles off the coast of New Zealand that occurred at around 9, I believe it was 9 o'clock, not Pacific time, whatever the time, oh geez, come on brain, the time zone that they are a part of. It happened around 9 a.m. for them, and it was not just like a regular earthquake, because then that's not news. This was a 8.1 magnitude earthquake that occurred 600 miles off of the coast of New Zealand. And everyone was worried that this earthquake was going to cause a tsunami that would eventually crash into the northern island of New Zealand. And there are a lot of reports of sudden tsunami warnings happening, and people evacuating towns, and there's quotes from I'm grabbing my information from a couple of articles, some from CNN. This one article I'm looking at currently is from the Washington Post, but after so it was the 8.1 tremor was the third major earthquake in less than 8 hours on the Kermadec Fault, which passes east of New Zealand. A magnitude 7.3 hit near New Zealand early on Thursday, followed by a 7.4 about 560 miles to the north a few hours later. So the 8.1 was the highest magnitude it reached, but there were about, I think it was, I said 3, but I think there wound up being two or three more after that at lower magnitudes. But this is the highest magnitude earthquake recorded since, I believe the one article I was reading was since 2018, and it was crazy. It was crazy to see. There's pictures online of recordings of the coastline of New Zealand. Hawaii was also under a tsunami warning. It was that large of an earthquake, and Hawaii is roughly, I don't want to say it's twice the distance away, but Hawaii is closer to us, and you would think that this tsunami just off the coast of New Zealand wouldn't affect it, but this tsunami had such a huge impact that it sent off warnings almost everywhere in the Pacific. Let me see. Officials.
So what happened to New Zealand? Is New Zealand okay? Like,
there wasn't, from what I've seen so far, there was no tsunami, and the category, the warning went from a major evacuation to a advisory. However, fortunately, there were emerging indications that the greatest slip or release of stress may have occurred deeper in the Earth's crust than where the slip initially began, closer to the sea floor. That decreases the risk of damaging tsunami. Initial estimates suggest that a slip of up to 30 feet occurred. So this article that I'm currently going through has a little more detail about what would have caused the tsunami to reach higher levels. But the highest wave that I've been able to find was one that was when it also hit the coast of Australia, but it was a 2-foot, they called it a 2-foot swell that was caused by the tsunami. But it's incredible to have seen that there was such a huge, there's a huge earthquake. There were huge earthquakes, plural, and no one, it could have been an incredible disaster, but no one, it seems like nothing else happened. And to think of the damage that would have caused to New Zealand and Australia, and possibly even Hawaii would have been.
So the 30-foot stress was ultimately what caused to lower the damage it could have caused.
Yeah. So the reason why people were speculating that the tsunami was going to occur is because the last time a 8.1 magnitude earthquake occurred, it was further underground and closer to deeper parts of the ocean. So that was the one that happened a couple of years ago, and then this one was such a worry because of how closer to the surface it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're telling me a miracle happened.
A little bit of a miracle happened, but to have something felt all along the Pacific was felt, for lack of a better term, it was felt all over by the Pacific. The National Weather Service Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued tsunami alerts for Australia and New Zealand numerous islands in the South Pacific, and along the western coasts of South America and Central America for projected tsunami waves of up to 1 to 3 feet. Ecuador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and Peru in Central and South America were under these alerts, where tsunami waves were expected to arrive between midnight and early morning hours Friday, their time. The Pacific Tsunami Center projected the largest tsunami waves up to 10 feet or more in the Kermadec Islands, about 500 to 600 miles northeast of New Zealand, with waves of 3 to 10 feet in New Caledonia and Vanuatu. And the National Tsunami Warning Center concluded that there was no tsunami risk for places like California, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and Alaska. A tsunami watch has been issued for Hawaii, but it has been discontinued. And that little blurb was from the Washington Post. But it is so crazy to think about because we're on the East Coast. We're not on. I believe the tectonic
We're on the
plates
fault lines now.
Yeah, the fault lines for us. Also, I don't know if our fault lines, if they move perpendicular to it, not perpendicular, if they move parallel to each other or perpendicular. I think ours move parallel to each other, which is why we don't really get earthquakes on our side. If I'm remembering geology correctly, because I'm pretty sure the way that earthquakes occur in the Pacific and why they occur so often is because the two plates that are there, one of them is pushing underneath another one, and that grinding, those grinding layers cause tremors to occur. The further up that you go, the further above the surface you go. So, but they at the same, I don't know. It's an area that I'm not super. I don't have a lot of knowledge in, but I thought the story was really interesting because, it happened. I found out about it by accident last night, and when I discovered the story, it was when they were talking about the main, like the big earthquake, the 8.1 magnitude one. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be a cool, interesting nature thing to bring up because nature.
Well, thank you for bringing it up because it was very interesting because if it's amazing that nothing really happened and that no one's hurt, there was no disaster despite this being one of the biggest earthquakes in recorded mankind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was very interesting. Thank you for bringing it up, Jack.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely suggest people do some quick searches to check out more about this story because there's some interviews and stuff from people who were there, firsthand accounts of people saying like they got the alert on their phone for evacuation and they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to evacuate, and then the tsunami sirens started going off and people started to get even like nervous, but they started to head to higher ground and just seeing, like, it's worth looking at the pictures and reading some of the other people's stories. And if you're really interested to look more into earthquakes and tsunamis in general, because if you are someone who lives on the East Coast who like us has no real idea.
Well, we deal with hurricanes.
Yeah, but we don't really experience earthquakes. So
yeah.
You kind of start to sound like me when you don't really know too much and you don't want to give misinformation and everything. But it's not a fun topic, but it's just there's all kinds of natural disasters, but thankfully to my knowledge, there wasn't any catastrophes. So
no, I was just about to say, like, when you were finding out about the story last night, people legitimately thought a tsunami was going to hit New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, it's in the middle of the day now on Friday, March 5th, and pretty much people were evacuating, and then the tsunami order got lifted, and people were like, "Oh, wow, okay."
Mm-hmm. And
so yeah, that's.
I remember seeing a quote earlier in another article from a seismologist about the situation. He was stationed in, I believe it was Australia, and he said he's never, in his 13 years of working in this field, he's never seen like such an event like this before, which kind of brings up a question, I guess, a quick question of it seems like our world is kind of going a little crazy, and wanted to think, like, we had the very dry season last year when it came to wildfires and everything, and now we have this one particular earthquake occurring so early in the year. It's starting to feel like
blizzards. Blizzards,
that.
Texas, what they just went through.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the world is
kind of got me a little nervous for the future.
Yeah,
and
definitely, I am. Yeah, now that you bring that up and all that stuff up, yeah, I'm pretty nervous too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that people hear this kind of a story and they think to they start to think of other more pressing matters in the world than I don't know where I was going with that. But weather and climate has become a big issue, and I feel like if we don't want these things to occur, we need to start taking
care of our planet.
Yep.
Because it's our home and we share with everyone and everything.
And if we piss off the earth anymore, the earth's going to fight back, and we're not going to win that fight.
Nope. And I think that's a great note to end it on. Thank you for coming, Jack.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to be so.
No. It's interesting. This is the podcast. We talk about anything and everything. We go from fanboying about Godzilla and Mortal Kombat to talking about a catastrophic earthquake that could have done an immense amount of damage, but it didn't because of some other nature things that happened that got in between it that stopped it. Mm-hmm. And people are safe right now, so that's good. But yeah.
Man, the world's crazy.
The world is crazy, yes.
We're a little bit crazier.
Yeah, I mean, everything's crazy right now. We're only 1 year into this new decade, and it still feels like we're
off to a great start.
Exactly.
Can't wait for the next 9 years.
Can you think about what 2030 will look like? I can't.
No, because before I didn't think the only preference I had for 2016 was Back to the Future. So to then be in an era where it's past Back to the Future is kind of weird, and I don't know where it's going to go from here.
Well, we're past the original Blade Runner because that was in 2019,
which is crazy.
And one day we're gonna be in 2049, and there's not gonna be a Ryan Gosling, as a robot.
Oh no! Oh, I'm sad now. Yeah, we're the last of a bygone millennium. You ever think of that?
What do you mean by that?
We were born in the 1900s.
We were born in yeah.
So from here on out, like, everyone's going to be born within this millennium, the 2000s.
Yeah, but we were born at the tail end of the 20th century.
But we were still born in the 19th century.
Yeah, it is a weird thing to think about because sooner or later, the people running our world will be people born in the 2000s. And we'll just be left behind, and people will think we're relics of the old world, and then they'll ship us off to a junkyard and just You
think we're going to a junkyard?
No, I was just being dramatic.
Oh, okay. I would hope my consciousness can be uploaded into a computer by that point, or a robot. That'd be pretty cool.
It'd be nice to have a holographic Ana de Armas by my side. That'd be nice.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, really quick, just before we end the podcast, the Microsoft just released a video called Microsoft Mesh, and it's pretty much holograms, and and not just holograms and like.
Well, holograms are already a thing, but it's like
no. But I'm talking like, you know that scene in the Avengers where Scarlet Witch is talking to, not Scarlet Witch, Scarlett Johansson. is talking to everyone doing the mission briefings after Endgame.
Yes.
That level of holograms.
Interesting.
You put on like what is essentially a VR headset, but it's clear in the front. And I'll show you the video. I'll send you the video later. IGN posted it. I think it was 2 days ago. But I think it appears to be a new project that Microsoft is setting up where it is essentially the kind of holographic conference call interface that sci-fi's been doing for the past 10 years and all media and stuff like that.
So what you're saying is, can I get a holographic girlfriend?
No, it's purely just to interact with physical people, not fake. Well, I mean, I guess there's nothing saying you can't get a holographic girlfriend.
So you're saying there's hope?
So you're saying there's a chance? Yes, that is what I'm saying.
All right, I can't wait for the next 10 years.
Hell yeah, baby. Holographic significant others for everyone.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
All right, man. Always a good conversation here. You never know where it's gonna go here.
Never know.
All right, next
Hopefully
week,
the twins will
Nomadland.
be with us.
What do you say?
I said hopefully next week the twins will be with us.
Yes, the twins. Yes, hopefully, but they gotta take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, man. I guess this is actually the end now. So it's always great talking to you, and we'll be back next week.
All right. See you later.
See you later.